The time will come when you do not want to go to work and work for your boss. Maybe that time has already arrived. Only you know, and I'm going to share with you today how to fire your boss. Now, obviously, you can easily fire your boss if you don't want an income and you just want to leave. I don't think that's a good idea though, because firing your boss when you don't have another income is basically financial suicide. However, the alternative is to find a different job on your free time so that you replace that income and then you'll fire your job. But you're not here to listen to this advice. You're here to understand how to never have a 9 to 5 ever again. Am I right? So let's get deep into it. Number one, you need an idea. An idea is a painful problem that you can find the solution to, or that you already have the solution to. If there is someone who has a painful problem in your vicinity, you better believe that there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people probably across the globe that has the same problem. Now, that's a great thing. Obviously, not that they have problems, but it's a great thing from your financial standpoint of being able to solve those problems for them. These people are willing to pay if you are solving a deep, painful problem for them. So that's number one. Do you think outside the box? Do you know someone who thinks outside the box of helping you to come up with ideas or help you communicate with people so that you can get ideas on what that potential solution could be that you can bring towards the market? It's either going to be a product or it's going to be a service. Both of them is a product, right? But just in general, just so that you understand, it could be you servicing something to someone or having others servicing something to someone, or it could be a physical or digital or whatever product that people are willing to buy to solve that painful problem. Number two, this kind of coincides with number one, and you sometimes have to find out number two before number one, but it is to figure out who your target market is. That means, who is it that you are solving the problem for? And be very specific about who that person is, because the more specific you are, the more you'll be able to target them. Eventually, at some point, your business is going to need a list. The list is your business. When people buy a business from someone, like let's say, for example, I have one of my clients whose father-in-law is selling his chiropractor business, right? What does it mean to sell a chiropractor business? Does that mean to sell his skills? That doesn't make any sense. To sell his real estate chiropractor, location? Maybe there's some part of that. His software, the systems that they use? No. The 80% of it, if not 95% of it, is buying a list from someone, which means you need a list of people, a list of clients. Recurrent clients would be great, but a list, the list, the list, the list, the list, the list. If you are going to eventually, at some point in time, get your financial freedom to fire your boss and never need a 9 to 5 ever again, it's going to be because you have a list. Okay? It's called a CRM. The client relationship manager, of people that you now know. Okay, you figured out that they have a problem that you can solve. Great, now you can actually solve it, and guess what? They'll give you monetary value in return for solving their problem. This is what you need to figure out in order for you to fire your boss. And it's actually that straightforward. Although it's not easy, it is simple. Like, and I'll get to at the end of this presentation what you can do in order for you to make that happen faster. Okay. Number three is you simply need to tell 100 people a day if they want ketchup or not. Do you want ketchup? No. Do you want ketchup? No. Do you want ketchup? Yeah, sure. I'd love some ketchup. That's how sales is. And I'm not talking about ketchup. I'm talking whatever your product or service is going to be. You have to be willing to talk to 100 people every single day about that product or service. The vast majority of people are going to say no because it's not the right timing. They don't have that painful problem, or it's not hurting enough, or it's just the wrong time. Like, don't talk to me, right? Right? maybe 1 out of 20 will buy something from you. Maybe it's 1 out of 100. Maybe it's 1 out of 1,000, right? But it's probably not going to be that bad. The key is you need a list, and that list will come from you talking to 100 people every single day, and then you write down those people that were positive towards you, but maybe it wasn't quite the right timing, right? And then you keep massaging it and you keep talking to them until they eventually maybe find out that it is time and that they have a painful problem that needs to be solved ASAP. And guess who they know who solves that problem? You. This is how you fire your boss and never have a 9 to 5 ever again, is by keeping a 9 to 5, 1 or 2 9 to 5 jobs, right? 9 to 5, so obviously if you have 2 jobs, they're not going to both be 9 to 5, but you get what I'm saying. If you're working 40 to 60 hours in the job, fantastic. Put the 20 to 40 hours left, because everyone's got 80 hours to work, right? You got 112 hours a week that you're awake if you sleep 8 hours, and most people don't. Which means those 112 hours, 80 hours of those could be work. 32 hours is going to go to self-care and making sure that everything is okay with you, your family, relationships, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So we've got 80 hours. So if you spend 20 to 40 hours working on the things that I just mentioned to you now, you're going to eventually be able to fire your boss and never need a job ever again. Why? Because you will improve continuously how you talk to those people about products and services. Right? It's going to be a little bit more professional than, do you want ketchup? Do you want ketchup? Do you want ketchup? Eventually, right? But in the beginning, you don't need more than that. You just need to start. And then over time, you're going to be able to quit your full-time job. This is how it works. And if you want to speed up this process, I highly recommend the Men of High Value community and using me as a consistency coach. Because in the beginning, it is a drag to establish your business because most people are negative. And if you have negative self-talk, guess what? You're going to talk yourself out of doing this business that could have been your ticket to financial freedom. But you quit too early because you didn't have any support. This is where Men of High Value comes in, our ONTRACC app comes in, and me texting you on a daily basis for dirt cheap, right? And I'll even give you a 30-day free trial to see how it is to work with me. You want to keep your job or do you want to fire your boss? Let's get started, man. DM me on Instagram or Telegram at Men of High Value. I'll see you guys in the next one.